We good, Mikey?
This is the Cover 3 Tailgate.
Did we lose Chip right at the start of the show?
Whoa. He's in shock.
And
What a
welcome
great day of college football it was.
back to the Cover 3 podcast here on CBS Sports. That frozen guy over there is Chip Patterson. He's Bud Elliott. I'm Tom Fornelli. And yeah, Bud, that was a pretty interesting day of football. I think I want to go to well, now Chip's moving. But no, yeah, what'd you think of today? Let's just wrap it all up in 5 minutes before Chip gets back.
Honestly, I was like frozen in time watching this day, Tom. It was incredible. I never wanted it to end. Man, honestly, I just feel like this sport is awesome and very, in a way, even. I mean, you go from, Friday night, my Noles lose to Virginia, to tonight, that same team that lost to Florida State by 14 and probably could have been more, goes on the road to Athens and wins. You see an all-time awesome defensive game in Happy Valley that ends up, being a higher scoring because you went to double overtime. Like, hitting was off the charts in that. I was impressed. Like, this was a really awesome day and a great showcase for our sport.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's weird. Like, there's always the hype when you go into a week like this where, like, there's the two top matchups, especially, at the end of the week. And there's also big games throughout, like 4 matchups between ranked teams. And usually you get a dud or two. It's like we didn't get any duds. We had a ton of exciting games. We had plenty of comebacks, like you mentioned. Like, TCU was up 17-0 on Friday night. They blew it. You saw the same stuff. Like, Oregon looked like they were going to blow it in the fourth quarter. Like, yeah. I texted you guys. I said in the Cover 3, because Danny had sent the poll out early in the day that said, which game are you guys going to have the volume on, Georgia, Alabama, or Penn State, Oregon? And I had it on Penn State, Oregon. I sent the text and said, all right, I'm switching to Alabama and Georgia because this Penn State, Oregon game's over. And then immediately Drew Aller drops a dime to cut it to 1 score. They get the stop, they get the ball back, and they march down the field to tie it. Hey, Chip, are you now with us?
I kid you not, the power popped.
The power popped.
Yeah.
All right, let's play our favorite game. Weston, Renaissance, or Marriott?
Weston, baby.
Okay, all right.
You know how it goes. We got cruise ship Chip in the house.
Oh,
yeah, we're at the Weston. The mere air conditioning cutting on is it gonna pop the power?
Telling you, man. Up until Halloween, the Weston at the beach is the same price on the corporate card or on the corporate rate as the Weston next to the office.
Well, listen, nobody wants to hear it, but the call time was 8 a.m.
All right,
and
that's
so,
fair.
like we were going to be as close to the office as possible. But hey, good to be with you on a good day. All right, so Tom, you were just talking about what game you had the sound on. Did you switch the sound back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Because you needed to hear all of the sounds that were coming from Happy Valley, including the shocking, stunning silence after the interception that ended the game. So how did you enjoy the roller coaster ride of Drew Aller on this year's Saturday night?
I got a lot of heat for just kind of being emotional and going off the dome and having a reaction last week about Dylan Raiola. So I'm going to try to approach that question with calmness and an even tone and say that Drew Aller made a spectacular throw for the first touchdown. It might have legitimately been the best throw he's ever made in his career. But Drew Aller is Drew Aller at this point. And I think we really kind of need to stop pretending he's anything else. Because you look at it, he finished the game 14-25, 137 yards, 2 touchdowns, the interception. Now, the interception, I don't think was a bad throw. I mean, I haven't seen the all-22 angle of it, but from the television broadcast, I don't think it was a bad decision to make the throw. I think it was just a great play by Dylan Thieneman to leap up and make that interception. Like maybe most guys can break that up, but very few guys, I think, are picking that off. So I think that was just a great play on the defense's part. But you see on the stats there, like Devontae Ross had that long touchdown pass. But outside of that, it was another game in which Penn State is playing a good team, and they cannot get the receivers involved in the passing game at all. It was all Dinkins and Singleton, the running backs and the tight ends. And it wasn't until it was probably a little too late, although they forced overtime, for really to get the receivers involved. And it's just the same thing we've seen 1,000 times now with Drew Aller and Penn State in these games. He's not up to the level that they need him to be if they're going to win these games and to compete for a national title. He might get them back to the Big Ten championship. He might get them back to the college football playoff, and they might win a game or two again. But they're not going to get past the semis. And I don't think he's bad. I just think that he is who he is. He's better than most, but he's not good enough for Penn State for what they want to do.
Yeah, I don't feel like he played terribly tonight, but he didn't really elevate them for the most part. The touchdown throw was a great throw. He made a couple of other throws that I thought were really nice, honestly. Like the one where he's like slipping down, trying to avoid the pass rush and like zips it out there was pretty good. He took some shots and hung in there. It didn't seem like he was like really quick with seeing it, and that's kind of been obviously like he clearly didn't see, Thieneman or I assume he didn't see him, right? That's a hell of a play by Dylan, but like ultimately, yeah, it just felt like he didn't elevate them throughout the game. Now in the fourth quarter, dude was pretty nails, honestly, and seemed to have a real command of the offense. It felt like when they had to have it, they kept stepping up until obviously overtime, and they had to have it there, and they did not step up. Those look like two really good football teams, honestly. If the refs didn't allow like a lot of holding on both sides, we might have like a 0-0 game. Like that
Yes.
Would have loved that.
Shout out to the refs for getting us some points.
NBC is like very thankful, given what some of the numbers have been so far, that like the refs were like, yeah, we're gonna allow some holding here, guys. that could have been 3-3 for eternity. Just with how good the pass rush was and how at times some of the pass protection was from both sides without holding. That was a good defensive game that ended 30-24 because it went to double overtime.
Right. Because we are a podcast of accountability, we doubted or at least considered whether or not Penn State would be able to flip the switch. Do you think that you saw from Penn State a performance that was, worthy of saying that they could flip a switch, that they came out of the bye week with a level that you wanted to see from a team that is trying to win a national championship?
Not offensively. Not until the fourth quarter. Like, the stat was, and they include the overtime in this, I believe, so it might be changed at this point. But no, they didn't. Through three quarters, Penn State had 109 yards of offense. They had 69 at halftime.
Nice.
Fourth quarter, they had 142. Thank you, Chip. They got to overtime, and kudos to them for the comeback, because I like I said, I'd written them off, and they came all the way back. And so that was awesome. It was great to see. And I thought they were, if they pulled out that win with that comeback in the fourth quarter, I think the entire narrative about Penn State is flipped on its head forever. But they didn't. And the offense did nothing for three quarters, and it put them in that hole. And that defense was phenomenal. They did a great job on defense, but the offense just didn't do its part, and it cost them. And we've seen it too many times. Penn State's defense plays great. Like last year they held Ohio State to 14 points, I think it was.
It was 20, but you're right.
Yeah.
But it was like a low-scoring single-digit game the entire time. They even had the pick six on Will Howard for their points to get for Penn State, and the offense just never did anything to help. So, no, I don't think they flipped a switch. I think Penn State's offense is just Penn State's offense. It's not very good.
Agreed. As far as flipping the switch, a couple things that they sort of like hid Devontae Ross, They didn't use him a lot so far this season. Tonight, though, like they broke him out. Obviously, he had the two scores, looked pretty good. There were some things I like from this Penn State offense. Obviously, not enough. Like you have those backs. You have a very veteran offensive line. In some ways, I would almost take more issue with that, man, than Allard. Like, I don't think Allard played great. I don't think he played terribly, to be honest. Like I don't think there were a whole lot of throws that he just flat out miss when I was watching it, but like they were not getting a lot of push in the run game. And all offseason we heard, hey, this is the best Penn State line we've had in quite a long time. You have Singleton, right? You have Katron Allen, and just didn't they didn't go nuts. Those guys, Singleton and Allen combined for 75 yards on 23 carries.
Yeah, coming into the game,
that's worse than Drew Allard going 14 to 25 for $137, I think.
Coming into the game, Nick Singleton was at 4.4 yards per carry. Tonight, he was 11 for 21. He helped out in the passing game, but I don't know what's going on there. He's just not been good. But I feel like we should probably turn our attention to Oregon, the team that actually won the football game.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the team that might be the best team in the country?
Might be.
Yeah.
We'll get to tomorrow's top. We'll get to tomorrow's top 25 today, a little bit later on in the show, in terms of where Oregon will fall after a dramatic win on the road at Penn State. I shared with me. I could tell. I mean, obviously, Dan's a big fan of the Cover 3 podcast. So Dan, congratulations. I know you're obviously watching right now in the locker room.
Throat slash was a little premature though, bro.
But no, it's the thing about the cuts, right?
Yeah.
He said it to the team's radio broadcast going into halftime, right? He said, and it's very obvious that that's the message that he had for his team, and that he then brought to the post game when he was talking on NBC, and that he's probably talking about right now at the post game press conference. But he was so right that when you're playing Penn State in Happy Valley, it's like you are going to have to just take a little bit and a little bit and a little bit, and then you might pop one, and then you might get the plays that you need. Now, granted, they definitely started to get it a little bit earlier, and then finally ended up getting it again in double overtime. But what stood out to you the most about what the Ducks were able to do here?
I mean, DeCorian Moore had more receiving yards and more catches than the two Penn State transfers they took, who we heard a lot about, right? Hudson and Pena. Pena had 2 catches for 16. Hudson had 0 for 0. So, to me, he was a huge. How many first down catches did he have? 10 targets, 7 catches, 89 yards, long of 29. I mean, repeatedly getting himself open, moving the chains. He was a dude.
But you know what I loved?
What?
The empty, not empty, but when Oregon gets the ball back, they've got 26 seconds left. I mean, it's less than 30 seconds. You just okay, we'll take one, sort of see what happens. And what was the see what happens? We're gonna put 3 wide receivers out on the perimeter, give it to Corian Moore, and just see if the most athletic skill position player that we have can make something amazing happen, because we trust him as a true freshman not to screw this up and turn this into something horrific, and B, he's also the player with the highest athletic ceiling to do something incredible. Nothing happened. He ends up getting wrapped up. The game goes to overtime. But I think that speaks to the same thing that Dan told us back in July, that this is somebody who has exhibited a workman-like mentality and earned the trust of the coaching staff and the team. Just not surprised at all that he was one of the biggest stars here today for Oregon's offense.
Yeah, I think looking at this, Corian played really well. Dante Moore, the moment he played pretty well. I don't know if he was a superstar in this game, but he certainly didn't wilt under the pressure. And I thought Oregon was the more physical team on both sides of the line of scrimmage.
What I was impressed with from Oregon's offense is that really difficult environment. They had 2 false starts in the game. And you see a lot of times with inexperienced quarterbacks. And again, they've also got 4 new players on their offensive line going into this environment, and they've been at home. I mean, did they play Oregon State on the road? I don't know if I count that, but anyway,
that one was I think that one was in Eugene, but
either way, in that environment, you typically you expect to see a lot of pre-snap mistakes, false starts, all that kind of stuff. And they avoided it. I think the quarterback deserves a lot of credit for that. I think the offensive line deserves a lot of credit for that. And I just think that Moore, he is inexperienced as far as maybe overall game time, but he's been around for a few years. He did have 1 season as starter at UCLA. He's not a veteran, but he showed veteran poise. So I thought he played well. I do think that, there are times when he gets pressured, he kind of just does a fadeaway jumper with his throw that could probably get him into trouble, but he got away with it. And I think Moore was the better quarterback. I think Moore showed me more tonight in one big, huge game than Drew Aller has shown me in like 10 huge games to this point in his career. And I think that you look at it too, like Bud, you mentioned the receivers. I also think Oregon just has more dudes on offense than Penn State does.
Yeah, they do.
Like Deere Hill, I know Dan Lanning is saying that, he's like saying we're going to go running back by committee and ride the hot hand. I don't know if you need to. I feel like what I saw from Deere Hill tonight suggests that he's probably your featured guy, and then you can spell him with Whittington and Moore and those other guys. I thought Gary Bryant Jr. had a big game. Kenyon Sadiq. There's just dudes on this offense. They've got multiple options, and it feels like when they're in tight spots, you don't really know what direction they're going to go because they could go a number of different ways, and it works for them. And defensively, they did a good job. They shut down the run game. They took away those receivers. They did everything they could to fluster Drew Aller. Like Penn State, their defensive lineman got held all damn night, but they still got 2 sacks and they still got 5 tackles for loss. Penn State only had 1. So, yeah, they were just the better football team, and they went on the road into a really difficult environment, and they won a game, although they almost blew it, but they didn't. They won.
Shout out to Will Stein, too. I mean, Jim Knowles is a hell of a DC, and I thought Stein called a great game to get that many young guys on offense and that many new pieces ready to go into an environment like that. And like they ran a lot of scheme. That's not easy to do with all those young guys. Like that. That's I don't know if Penn State anticipated them running all that they ran. Like there was a lot of creative stuff in there. I was really impressed by just like how much you're able to get into that playbook. Well, in the playbook, but also like get into the brains of your young players. Like that was huge.
Do you think that there was a moment here? You mentioned the defense and the lines of scrimmage. I did think Penn State's offensive line, I wanted to give them credit as the game went on and Penn State needed to get those first downs and needed to keep the ball moving. It felt like they were getting a good push. And maybe there's just, you can only expect but so much. I thought I saw big number 1 out there. I know Bear wasn't making like a million plays, but he was on the field for super significant snaps and being a part of helping a winning effort. We mentioned him again going into it. I think that I think that there is a way that Oregon can win football games. I think that at the lines of scrimmage, they are good enough because of everything else that they have, because of their running backs and their wide receivers, their tight ends, because of their linebackers, their edge rushers. I think they are good enough to be able to, even because look, Penn State might be one of the most physical lines of scrimmage team they play all year. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
And so in that environment too, I mean, it's a good football team, and congrats, Daniel. You're obviously jacked up. I saw somebody mentioned, like if your head coach isn't a little bit of a psychopath, are you ever going to win anything? No.
You
got it.
No.
Nope. Running down the list of recent champions.
No.
Nope.
You gotta have some serious broken brain.
Honestly, that if you're an AD, that should be the first thing you look for when interviewing the guys. It's like
one guy had a bunch of psychopaths playing for him. Okay,
so I feel like this guy would kill me. Okay, yeah, he's the
yeah. So again, we'll do the rankings reaction coming up in just a little bit. Anything else from Happy Valley here in again, like the game just ended. We're going to go back. We'll be getting our reviews, a lot more to come on Monday, I'm sure. But what else, anything else stand out from this game that we want to make sure we get on the record on a busy Saturday night?
I thought Hill just ran smart too. Like at a time in which like you could be impatient because like the moment is so big. I thought he had, like, he wasn't slow to it, but he had like the right amount of tempo on his runs to figure out where those creases were going to be. It was pretty impressive. That's a good football team. Yeah,
it's a very good football team. All right. Well, I see a lot of Kirby Smart commentary in the tailgate earlier. Yeah, I know, that's interesting. So let's address that. And coming up on the other side, Alabama goes into Athens and gets a huge win for the Crimson Tide. what it means for both teams, what we learned, and more. Next.
Name's Conrad Harrigan, family man. And if you cross my family, well, you'd better pray.
Mobland, new series streaming March 30th on Paramount Plus.
To react to a wild week 5 in college football, a weekend and a Friday and Saturday in particular, that absolutely lived up to the bill through and through. As we turn our attention to Athens, let's start with before we get into nitty gritty and nuance. Let's start low hanging fruit. Y'all cool with that? We'll just reach up and grab some low hanging fruit. Bud Elliott. Did Alabama win this or did Georgia lose it?
I think Bama won it by totally just pantsing the Georgia defensive coaching staff in the first half again. That's 2 years in a row where, DeBoer just whips Georgia in the first half on the chalkboard. Like, they look totally confused by what DeBoer had for them. And to Georgia's credit, they made great adjustments. They did have a chance to come back in the second half and at least tie or win this thing. But those 24 points you scored in the first half, that was all you needed. Like, in hindsight, they threw the knockout blow before the half ended. That's 2 years in a row.
Tough loss for the over. Tough loss for the Unity. Yeah.
Traitor.
I know the traitor won because Ryan Williams can't catch. And who dropped the touchdown for Georgia? There's 2 drop touchdowns in this damn game. We lost the over by 7.5 points.
As Aaron Tippin once sang, you got to stand for something or fall for anything. And over and over again, Georgia just keeps falling for Kalen DeBoer's tricks in the first half, guys.
All right, so if we're ranking quarterbacks, what's the lowest you're ranking Ty Himpson?
1. Oh, in the SEC?
Just overall, period.
Oh. Like, just based off this game?
Like, he can't be worse than top 5 at this point.
No,
right?
No, absolutely not.
Because he did not play great in the Florida State game, but he's been absolutely incredible since.
We talked about this about FSU. Like, he knew where to go with the ball. It just seemed like he was a second late to get to it.
Mm-hmm.
And tonight the moment was not too big. I thought at times in Tallahassee it was. That's not saying just first real road start for the guy. Does his crow hop into these throws? I'm like, dude, you have a lot of time. To me, that kind of was a big middle finger to Georgia. Honestly, like, bro, I'm gonna have time to crow hop into some of these throws and just throw it through your chest. And it's just what we saw against Tennessee. Georgia doesn't have difference makers on the edge this year pass rushing. They don't.
Well, also, let's give some credit to Alabama's offensive line that, we were kind of looking at and calling into question. I think Caden Proctor heard that look like Tarzan, play like Jane conversation and was like, give me the ball. I'm going to take this thing right. I will show you exactly what Tarzan looks like.
370. We want to see you do something. He did it. That was great.
Would Caden Proctor be the best wide receiver in Iowa right now?
Yes.
Would Caden Proctor be the best receiver up? No, just kidding. But
no, I think that there's just something that, the real maturity, unfortunately, because of the scars of last season for Alabama fans, the real test of maturity is going to be how you handle it. But man, what a showing for them to come in and be able to carry that attitude, because when they did it to Georgia last year, we didn't really have any reason to doubt them. But it was kind of oh, wow. Look at what you were able to do in this epic back and forth. Maybe Kalen DeBoer's really got it. But, then after having to deal with if I win the lottery, I'm going to buy out Kalen DeBoer. And, all of all this negativity that was surrounding the program after losing as a double-digit favorite time after time after time. Man, I really enjoyed getting getting that Ty Simpson firing up the team before they run onto the field. Ty Simpson is the leader of this team, somebody who definitely could have hit the transfer portal multiple times after losing the starting quarterback battle to Jalen Milroe. And so, Tom, to bring it back to what you were saying, he has waited for this moment, and all he has done is answer it. And now, yeah, he's one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the entire country, and maybe going to be in the running for a lot of individual accolades at the very highest level. We mentioned in the big game breakdown, I'm pretty sure, that this could be the Ty Simpson breakout game. I mean, would you say that this is the Ty Simpson breakout game?
I would hope so. I mean, 276 yards, 2 touchdowns, not eye-popping numbers, but he was just making plays, and we saw like this. And if Ryan Williams catches that one pass, he's probably got, what, 300
yards
and 3 touchdowns?
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, he played very well. He looked really good. And this was, you go to Alabama's run game, it did not really play very well in this one. I mean, the throw to Caden Proctor counted as a run because it was backwards pass. But if we take that out, no, it's just overall, they still only averaged 3 yards per carry. And they had to really put the game on Simpson's shoulders to move the ball. And in the second half, things got bogged down quite a bit because, like Bud was mentioning, Georgia did the thing they do where they adjust in the second half. They should probably consider trying to figure things out before games start going forward. But whatever. They've won national titles. I haven't. I'll leave that to them. But I just think that overall, like, he played very well. I think the receivers, we've talked about them, they have very good ones, and I think they have more than one option. They've got 2, 3, 4 different options, and I think that is going to help them going forward in the SEC. But at the same time, we've also saw last year Alabama beat Georgia, and then it lost to Oklahoma and Vanderbilt. So they can't do the thing they did last year where they like, all right, we won the big game, we can relax. You have to keep up that intensity every week. And we'll see if they can. I think they could, because I think part of the reason is with Jalen Milroe at quarterback, I think you're more prone to the offense stalling out because the passing game just might not be there. And if they know you're going to run, it's much easier to stop the run. With Ty Simpson, I don't think that'll be the case. I think Georgia's offense has a higher floor than it did last year, if maybe not the same ceiling as it maybe, a Jalen Milroe offense has. So I do think this team will be more immune to that, but we'll see.
They still give up 227 rushing. FSU ran all over them. Like, there's no actual evidence that Alabama can be a good run defense so far under Kalen, or under Womack rather, like the D coordinator. And there's really no evidence they can handle a mobile quarterback, like, so far. We just, I'm not saying they cannot, but like, to this point, Bama has what, 17 games under DeBoer now, that they haven't shown zero proof they can handle any of that kind of stuff. So like, next week against Vandy is a real test.
All right, you ready?
They'll be underdogs. I'm not saying Vandy will win, but like, we do kind of have to see that, like, to believe it at this point, because they've been flat out bad against that kind of stuff under Womack.
Yeah, Georgia popped for runs of 24, 29, 43, 43, and 21 in this game.
And why'd they give the ball to Cash Jones?
I don't know, man. Bobo.
You're not going to give it to Frazier because he fumbles all the time. Like, if
but Bowens was good.
Frazier, right?
You've got somebody who's like bigger, and I mean, he's LT Overton. He's going to go play in the NFL. That's like, the fact that he was able to shed a blocker, get into the backfield, and disrupt him enough to trip him up. I get it. Like, that's that you, in the sense, you tip your cap. But if you wanted to be, if a Georgia fan is listening right now and was thinking the same thing, like, why is he getting the call on that big play right there? I would understand and maybe ask the same question.
Like, I just, from watching Georgia fans in the chat tonight in our tailgate, like, I think they wanted them to go for it or to kick the field goal rather. And I'm like, no, I think going's the right call, man. Just maybe run a different play. Also, like, how about the 3-and-out they have right after the stop they get?
Mm-hmm. Failed fourth down, but you get a stop, and then the next possession was horrendous. That's where the game was lost.
Wide open touchdown pass dropped. Okay. Yeah. And then you like miscommunicate on a 3rd and 9, and that's the ball game. Like, Bama's got a for sure draft pick at quarterback. Georgia's got a maybe draft pick at quarterback, right? That's kind of how I look at this. Like, they don't have a dude at QB. I'm not saying Stockton sucks. I think that's hyperbole. I don't think he's like a huge difference maker for you so far in his career. But I think you can win with him. I definitely think you can win with Simpson if he's going to throw the ball on time. Because, like, the ball's accurate. He's got real velocity on it. He seems to know where he's going with it. If it's on time, like it was tonight, he's pretty good.
Who's the best team in the SEC right now?
I don't know.
It's Alabama.
Probably, but that could change next week. I mean, it might be Ole Miss.
Might be Vanderbilt.
Might
I don't
be.
think I don't think it's Ole Miss, but
They're 3-0 in the SEC. We keep not thinking, and they keep winning.
that's true.
Before we get there to
They're going
both,
to the playoff.
but before we get to both, well, they're over by October. That's what's really important here. As it was deemed, Vanderbilt over by October. It cuts both ways, right? Because on one hand, I understand the comment, and I agree that the stakes have been lessened by the expanded playoff for a game like Alabama, Georgia. You know, like I was on college football pregame today with an Alabama grad and a Georgia grad, and even they were talking to each other like, it feels like this game isn't even happening tonight. You know, just like another game. And compared to the pageantry and the hype that both of them experienced during their respective college experiences, they were sort of lamenting that. But at the same time, as we have to sit here and, break this thing down, do you know what else I'm feeling? I'm like, man, I'm really excited to see the rest of the season because both of these teams are still in it. I'm not ready to sell Alabama or Georgia in terms of trying to accomplish all of their goals because I think both of these teams are capable of winning an SEC championship. I think both these teams are capable of making the college football playoff. So there is a little bit less of the stakes going into a game, but coming out of it, I think it's perfectly fine to be able to not have to overreact and say, Georgia's done.
Yeah.
Unless you want to. That would make a great week. That's engagement farming right there.
Georgia's done.
There we go, Tom. I can always count on you.
They still have a pretty winnable schedule, right? Like
yes,
Georgia's
100%.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Like you get
Bud, real quick, when they ran onto the field last night, when they ran onto the field tonight, they were introduced in the stadium as the defending SEC champions, and you almost have to remember, it's like, oh yeah, they won this league last year,
right?
Mm-hmm.
They have a couple fairly easy weeks here coming up, so you get what? Kentucky, you get Auburn, and then you host Ole Miss. Yeah. So you're about to face two really bad quarterbacks in a row, and then you get Ole Miss. I think you'll be okay.
Yeah, I still think, like real quick on like sort of my mental checklist, Bud's boy Colby Young not only just like continues to be really, really good, but also just kind of seems to be a good sideline guy. But Georgia's losing offensive linemen left and right, and he's like going in and like checking on them and helping them up and like hyping up the freshman who's having to come into the game and take on this big opportunity in a big stage. I know he had some incidents that kept him from being able to be on the field, but he does seem to be someone who is, bringing something to the team on the sideline in addition to his contributions on the field. Mentioned the Cash Jones thing. I thought Bowens was awesome. Alabama side, didn't see much from Jam Miller. I know he was back, but I didn't really feel like his impact was there.
I mean, he didn't pop one. I think like based on how much they fed him the ball, that they thought he would. He did have 2 first downs catching it. By the way, on the play that Bama uses to seal it, they have 2 guys wide open.
Mm-hmm.
Like Georgia didn't cover it short or deep, but other than that, they had it pretty well taken care of.
Isaiah Horton had a good game.
Yeah,
heard of who?
That's a nice transfer pickup.
Yep, absolutely
for sure.
Okay.
Like also, like we could say this diminishes the meaning of the game. It did not diminish my enjoyment of the game. Like that was an awesome game to watch.
Yeah, I guess meaning is correct. Like I can't push back on meaning, but it diminishes the stakes.
Sure.
Because it still means a lot to a lot of people. There are still a lot of Alabama fans and a lot of Georgia fans who feel a lot of meaning tonight and felt a lot of emotions, even if their season wasn't on the line the same way it was in the BCS or the 4-team era. It still meant something. It's real to me, damn it. Ole Miss gets the win against LSU. Hey,
So
is it an LSU? This kind of feels like an LSU story. Am I wrong?
no, I think it's both. I thought Ole Miss handled a lot of the pressure packages from LSU very well tonight. Ultimately, like they started out poorly on the first 2 drives, and then
Oh, three and out. You're like,
Yeah.
this is going to be problematic.
they adjusted to it well. They probably also realized, okay, LSU's offense is a disaster right now. I guess LSU's right tackle got hurt at warmups. Did you guys see that?
No.
Yeah.
He didn't. Yeah, he didn't play. Like he got hurt. So we knew they were already a little bit thin going in. The run game continued to be like completely MIA. I know there's people out there that think they just need to run the ball more. I think they're terrible at it. In no way do I want to see LSU run the ball more. Just let Nussmeier try to chuck it around. Like that, I've seen enough of that. They're not good at running the ball. So LSU appears to have really hit on the transfers that it took on defense. I cannot say the same for the transfers it took on the offensive line. And that was one of the 2 major questions we had about this team coming into the season. Like, you lost 4 guys to the NFL. How would you replace that? We can conclusively say they have failed to do so. Like, they do not have an offensive line that's functional right now.
I think if LSU chooses to be in 2nd and 10, they should definitely run on first down a lot more than they have been. But I mean, no, like the offense stinks.
Hey.
It's stunk all year. Like,
Yeah.
Nussmeier has not played well. Do we want to put that on him? Do we want to put it on the line? I don't care at this point. He's not playing well either way. I think that, I mean, there were times, and I didn't know about I had this game muted, like it was on the TV without sound, so I didn't know about the right tackle, but there were times I'm watching this game, and Ole Miss is rushing 3 against 5 or 6 guys, and they are getting home. Like, they're getting pressure on Nussmeier, and they're forcing him into throws, or they were getting a sack. And that's just, you're supposed to be an SEC offensive line. You can't block 3 with 5? Like, what are you even doing? So, no, the offense stinks. The defense did its part again, but it broke. It cracked at the end because they're kind of just being worn down. And Ole Miss just, I mean, again, it's a weird team trying to figure out this Ole Miss because they haven't looked. At no point has Ole Miss looked to me to be great, but they tend to look good more often than they look bad. And so far, that's working. Like Trinidad Chambliss today was, I mean, maybe Danny bought a little high. Maybe, we'll see. We'll see how he feels on Monday or Wednesday. But he was 23 of 39 for 314. So it's like you watch him play, and then you see the stat line at the end. You're like, wow, he finished with 300 yards. When the hell did that happen? But then you see, how many incompletions he had. The run game was not that exciting. It wasn't that effective. Nobody really stood out and balled out on the receiving game. But they still finished with almost 500 yards and won.
I want to give Ole Miss some flowers, though, for this. When they had to have the run game,
Lacey
to seal it, they did. They ran it. It was pretty. Like that part was really impressive to me. I mean, you could tell me Ole Miss or LSU's kind of selling out for it and probably not having great gap discipline, but that's really kind of any end of game situation, right? Like they're going to sell out, and you have to find a way to take advantage of that aggressiveness. I thought Ole Miss did a really nice job of that. They look good, like they do. I do think if you played LSU season in reverse order, okay, like if you had opened the year losing like this to Ole Miss, and then your offense in wins, but looked like it did against Florida, and looked like it did against Clemson and Louisiana Tech, where you scored 23 points, people would be like driving a U-Haul to the OC's house. Like this is. At LSU, you can't score 19, 20, 23, and 17 against teams that, like, Florida's probably not going to a bowl. Clemson might.
But I know that 39 minutes in is too early to get recklessly disrespectful here, but offensively, and let me just say, offensively, LSU and Clemson have the same offensive issues.
Yeah.
Ooh.
What we saw in the season opener was not 2 awesome teams having a defensive battle. It was two very problematic offenses that were struggling to move the ball against. And look, Clemson's defense has its own issues too. I don't want to compare those sides, but the inability to run the football, the offensive line struggles, a quarterback with talent who just, for Cade's reasons, probably more performance, like Garrett, maybe a little bit more supporting cast / health, but they both have talented wide receivers, and yet the offense is just stuck in the mud. Death Valley, Tigers, Stinky-O, LSU is Clemson.
Ole Miss is going to the playoffs.
Because of the schedule? I mean, but here's the problem, Bud. You could have said that last year, and then they screwed the pooch against Kentucky and Florida, and now they're playing the exact same schedule.
That's fair, certainly.
And so you're like, okay, like, are they trustworthy right now? Because I'm not ready to walk out of 24-19 against LSU, a game that I do. And like, I agree with you, Bud. They held the ball for the final 5 minutes of the game. That was awesome. Like, that was winning football. They could have probably won that game by more. But at the same time, I don't know if I trust them to be able to get a win in back-to-backs against Georgia and Oklahoma, or maybe not to have a screw the pooch moment.
Well,
like, does 10-2 get them in? I think probably shouldn't, given who's on this schedule, but it might.
I'm not giving them an Egg Bowl win.
That's what I'm saying. You want my official prediction? They lose to Georgia and Oklahoma. They're 9-2 going into the Egg Bowl, and they lose and get knocked out of the playoffs by Mississippi State. Print it. Mississippi State doesn't stink.
I mean, with how close everybody is in this sport, sure. I mean, look, we just spent 5 minutes talking about how LSU's offense is a disaster, and you won by 5.
Yeah,
everybody in the sport's really close.
And my thought process is too, like, the only game they've played on the road, they struggled. It was against Kentucky, and like, they're playing Georgia on the road, they're playing Oklahoma on the road, they're playing State on the road. Like, when they're on the road, they're not nearly as good based on what we've seen. So
I think there's a very there's an indicator, at least right now, that probably has more to do with the fact that Lane Kiffin doesn't have a super experienced quarterback like he did last year. But on the broadcast, they mentioned, and I guess, I mean, you could look it up as well, Ole Miss doesn't go for it on 4th down like they used to.
No. He's got a vibes quarterback is more than he's got a guy with command of the offense.
Yeah.
And that's not an insult.
No. Hey, listen, Trinidad's vibes get you a lot of first downs. So like, Trinidad's vibes get you first downs on 3rd down, so you don't have to do the 4th down call. But it has not been like, ooh, look at Lane go, Riverboat Lane. Look at him. He's Mr. Analytics now. It's like, no, this has been a little bit of a reversal in terms of the way he handles business. But it's a very good football team. It's a very good SEC football team. I don't know if I'm going to take LS. I don't know if I'm going to take Ole Miss in a power ranking against either of the 2 SEC teams we saw in the primetime slate. But I was very, very impressed with the way they finished the game today against LSU.
Stop with the dumb penalties, and the game wouldn't have been close.
There was a lot of dumb penalties today. Yeah, Mississippi State, Tennessee was a flag fest. Ole Miss, LSU was a flag fest. I mean, it was it must be just that time of year. You're starting to get a little tired. Competition's getting better. You're just kind of losing focus a little. Some
officials getting bored.
Some teams need a bye week.
Jumping on the pile leaping onto the pile way late, which I get why they call it. I don't know that I want that called, but I was happy to see the no targeting call in Oregon.
Yeah.
I relate to it because it just looks like it's fun to do.
Jumping on the pile.
It just looks like it's like jumping into a pile of leaves.
Go ahead, bud.
No, I would need a trampoline to jump like that high over a bunch of like 6'5" guys. Dude,
okay. It looks like it'd be fun to fall onto the pile.
Yes.
All right. While we're sort of in this pocket right now, Vanderbilt is going to go to Tuscaloosa with a 5-0 record. It's the first time since 2008 that the Vanderbilt Commodores are 5-0. And while Broncos' big beefy boys did come through and get themselves a cover, It was a game where Utah State threw some punches early, and not only did Vanderbilt respond, Vanderbilt brought their ass kicking shoes and put them on at some point in this game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 touchdowns for Diego Pavia. I mean, Tom probably could have pulled Diego Pavia earlier, but you got to give him one more touchdown, right?
I was trying. I needed Broncos boys to get that cover, but no, this was. I mean, Vandy's not like messing around, man.
That's the thing. Is like they're good.
They want Diego Pavia in New York.
This is a problem. I don't think enough people realize this isn't cute. Nothing about this is cute.
No.
This is a white collar school with a blue collar attitude. They're kicking ass right now.
They got a little more shit to them this year.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's not trickeration, right? Like it's not like, ooh, look at us, we're so crafty. Like you never know where the ball is going. Like there's a lot, like whether it's the downfield pass, whether it's tempo. Like I mean, we've been like noticing things along the way. They're like, okay, this is sort of a new level that's been unlocked this year with this team.
I think these nerds are doing the smart thing though, because if you look at how Indiana did it last year, like they know they're Vanderbilt. They know that there is a perception that they absolutely have to overcome. Like even as good as they've played so far this year, they're still only 18th. If they were an SEC team with the same resume, but they were, like Ole Miss, they'd be top 10. But they kind of know that we sit and think like, okay, Utah State, they've got Alabama next week. They could just afford to just get in there, get the lead and sit and rest in the second half. It's like, no, we got to put up 50 plus because all of our wins, they need to look really, really impressive, even against a lesser competition, because it's the only way we're going to get any respect from the committee. So I understand why they're doing it, and I think it's probably the right thing. It's just now they're 5-0, and this is when the real season starts for them, because it's Alabama next, but then it's also LSU, it's Mizzou, it's at Texas. And like these next 4 games are going to decide, and I'm saying this with absolute just sincerity, these next 4 games decide if Vanderbilt's a playoff team or not. And we have to consider them in that conversation with the way they've played and the start that they're off to and the conference that they're in. Because if they split these games and they go into Auburn, Kentucky, and then at Tennessee at 7-2, they win out. They're probably in.
Yeah, I mean, at 10-2, they have a better resume than Ole Miss, right?
Yeah. If they split these 4 games with Alabama, LSU, Mizzou, and Texas, that means they're beating 2 of them.
Yeah.
Those are 2 resume wins, and they've already beaten South Carolina, which I know still, and then they would add a win over Tennessee at the end. How would you leave that 10-2 team out?
You probably wouldn't and shouldn't. So, I mean, their resume got a little bit better today. Like South Carolina won. They got that win over them on the road. Vatek won, right? So that helps slightly.
I am while I do, I think that helps marginally. I'm starting to think that the fancy new strength of schedule metrics that they keep trying to do is just going to be more of engineering the top 25 to justify the top 25.
That makes sense.
Like a Virginia Tech win doesn't do anything. Like Virginia Tech might be 1 game closer to a bowl game, but the way that we talk about a resume and say how many bowl teams did you beat, I don't think the committee's going to look at that way. I think if you've got a bunch of wins over 6-6, 7-5 teams, that's not going to mean anything. I think they are going to give playoff spots to the teams that have wins against other teams inside their top 25.
That makes sense.
I mean, and don't worry, Alabama's never lost to Vanderbilt in a come down spot after a big win.
No,
never. All right. Coming up on the other side, y'all asked for an emergency pod over this? No, you got to wait. So coming up on the other side, look back at Friday night plus much more from week 5 next.
Only CBS Sports can bring you big time during the heart of Saturday afternoons.
It's big time.
Big time. It's big time. It's big time.
On CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus.
As we continue to roll through our recap of week 5 in college football. And the fireworks did get started on Friday night as a top 10 team went down. It was the Florida State Seminoles taking their first loss of the season. Coming up in a little bit, we'll talk about where we expect them to fall in the new top 25 rankings. A complicated resume for the Noles, as the team that they beat as their best win just won, and yet they lost to an unranked team. Those things are going to make things a little bit complex and complicated for voters, but more on that later. Bud, an early couple turnovers, early 14-0 hole, but then you end up losing in overtime. Like, is it as simple as they didn't start good, or was there anything a little bit deeper or more concerning for the Seminoles? And conversely, is Virginia an ACC championship contender? Because they are a Chandler Morris throws it to the wrong team in the end zone away from being undefeated and being one of those teams that you're kind of like poking up out of your head out of the sand, like, wait, what, how good is Virginia? And asking those kinds of questions.
Yeah. So I don't think they're an ACC championship contender, to be honest. No.
Wow. I think you can be an ACC championship contender. I think I've decided, especially after Georgia Tech Wake Forest earlier today, and after spending too much time watching Louisville Pitt, and after what we've seen from SMU this year, I think anybody can make it to Charlotte and lose to Miami.
But Tech is not a reliable fit. Like, they're not a reliable favorite. Like, they're not a team that goes out as a 14-point favorite and covers it. Like, they're a team that, like, is really good at keeping stuff close, you know. Or like, you know, slaying the dragon and playing that underdog role because they hold on to the ball, you know, for so long. All right. So on the FSU stuff, yeah, like I think the poor start certainly hurt them, right? Like I do think that, like, sequencing in terms of when things happen to you in a game can matter in terms of, like, giving the opponent belief. And, you know, like, their first 2 drives, Florida State comes out and gets immediate stops, right? And they move it, they fumble immediately on the one, and then on the other one, the kid makes a great play to bat that ball up in the air and catch it on the interception. And so you're kind of like, all right, it's going to be one of those kind of nights. That's really disappointing, you know. I thought that Morris did a really good job getting the ball out quick and being super accurate and decisive with his stuff. Like, that was largely what we thought they were probably going to do, and you'd have to tackle well. And I thought, like, UVA's receivers, they fought through tackles hard, man. Like, they repeatedly got from, like, 2nd and 9, you know, ball caught for 4, dragging a defender for an extra 3 to get to a very manageable third, right? Like you know, a 3rd and 6, you know, ball caught for 2, drag for 4, get to a 4th down you can actually make. I think they were like 11 of 15 on 3rd and 4th down combined, and it largely felt that way, right? Like, the defense couldn't get off the field. They had trouble fitting some of the run stuff. I thought UVA played really well overall. Like, that's probably about as good as UVA can play, I think. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but, like, that's pretty much the game style they have to play, and they played it and played it extremely well. And I don't think Florida State played their best game, and they're not good enough to roll out there if the other team plays really well, you know, to just, you know, walk over somebody if you don't also play well. So that, to your point, as far as, like, you know, some of the breaks and stuff, yeah, like, if Wilson catches the pick 6 as opposed to having it hit off his hands and bounce up in the air for a 60-yard gain, then it's probably a good night, right? Because and you're going up by what, 17?
Yeah.
So, you know, but that's what happens. I think there's certain things that are, like, very discouraging defensively in that game.
I was going to say, my headline coming out of this is like, Florida State's defense is not special, and
they probably should have scored 50. To be honest, I'm more disappointed in the offense, to be frank, because I don't have super high expectations for the defense. I don't think they have very many, like, special high quality players in that front 7. I do think they have a lot of really good pieces on the offense, and, you know, coming out of there and not scoring 50 with that many opportunities, I feel like is disappointing, actually.
It was a stupid game. I enjoyed the hell out of it, but it was a stupid game. Like
It was
so
entertaining.
dumb.
Yeah.
There's not to take the focus off of the Seminoles, but in the heat on Bud and Danny here. But there was one tweet I got last night which really made me giggle. It came from Jim Wynn. When are we going to start talking about the son of Chad Morris leading Virginia to 4-1 under a former Clemson coordinator while Dabo looks cooked?
It's fair.
So Chad Morris was a former, for those who don't know, was a Clemson offensive coordinator. His son, Chandler Morris, and Virginia's coach, Tony Elliott, is a former Clemson offensive coordinator. So I thought that was fun to amuse me.
Yeah, no, there was a Chad Morris as a kid standing next to Taj Boyd, like circa 2012 photo that was circulating as that was going down. So yeah, a lot of being able to connect some dots right there. I think that Chandler Morris is, as we mentioned, one of the last COVID quarterbacks that we've got. And when Chandler gets out there to scoot, him running is not like your blue chip 19-year-old running, like his decision of what I see, what I can do, like those are smart decisions that are being made. And that is really, really tough for a defense to account for. I thought he did an awesome job. I also think that it's important because while Tom, you mentioned Virginia and the conference schedule that they got when we were talking ACC win totals, breaking them down like this. It's a favorable draw. I don't think Virginia's going to win the ACC, but they are on pace with this win and this schedule to have the best season yet under Tony Elliott, as long as they're able to, keep track right here, which I think is going to be a really this is a nice win in what I think could be a really good season for Tony Elliott, who in this past offseason, and we detailed this, like Virginia didn't use the portal at all. They had 13 combined portal additions the previous two cycles. I mean, Bud, isn't it 30? I mean, it's a bunch. Yeah. It's a huge number. That was a coach that was on the hot seat, backed into a corner, had to win, got the resources together, did some evaluation, and then came the hard part. And the hard part is getting everybody on the same page so you can go win football games. And he and this staff have seemed to do a good job with that. Now they got to maintain that. You can't just feel like the season's over just because you got your first field storm in Scott Stadium in a long time. I mean, RIP Squirrel White. Talk about a squirrel getting run over.
I was legit worried about Squirrel White when I saw that.
Yeah.
Like terrified.
Yeah. I'm so grateful that Chris Budden came out and said something. What Chris offered, I believe it was this morning. She said, number one, she said it wasn't as scary on the field as it looked on the camera, like the crane camera overhead, which, I mean, I guess I can believe you. It definitely seems like it happens slower when you rush the field, like when you're actually on the field, than when it's looking at from overhead. But she also said that she contacted both schools and there were no injuries for players or staff involved. So that was a good thing. But for Tony Elliott, man, like this offseason, your tenure was at a fork in the road. You made some big swings. They seem to have paid off. So that's I like to give flowers when we can give flowers. Seems like things are going in the right direction for the Wahoos. So hope those nerds enjoyed it. Now you can go back to doing nerd stuff. I mean, dude, when I told multiple Florida State graduates about the grounds and first year, second year, third year, y'all know this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Virginia doesn't call it their campus.
The ground.
They call it the grounds.
Yeah.
And they're not freshmen, sophomores, juniors, or seniors. They're first years and second years. I mean, just nerdy behavior.
They're nerds.
Huge nerdy behavior.
Huge nerds.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
Did Kirby go like full Dabo tonight? Kirby on his 1-7 record against Alabama. What's everyone else's record? You got it? Me neither.
The man's got a point.
Shoot.
What I mean, I still maintain that the fact that his one is a national championship game is
that's
kind of a
yeah.
kind of a big haymaker right there, you know, and like that was the vengeance for the 2017 national championship game too. So I don't know. I think Kirby's probably extremely disappointed right now. Not surprised that he would let one fly. I mean, it's better, but there he seems to have a little bit more going in his favor in terms of the product on the field, at least in my opinion. All right, where you want to go next? There's
Seattle?
a lot. Oh yeah,
That's the best team in the country.
Yeah.
Like for a lot of bad stuff to happen to you early in that game, you know, fumbling on the punt return, just a lot of crazy stuff.
Getting stopped on fourth down on your very first drive, like inside the
absolutely
10.
choked them out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was a dominant effort by Ohio State on the road against a like decent to good Washington team.
Banged up though.
Yeah.
You know,
let's just call them decent. Let's not call them good. Like this version of them is not good. It's just decent. Like 9 tackles for loss, 53 plays.
Yeah.
I mean, you're basically killing a drive with the TFL. What, 2 every 3 drives?
Yeah.
Like that was.
I think they're going to do that to everybody. I think that they're going to put up a lot of 31-3s. Today was 24-6. I mean, I think that they can do that to basically everybody on their schedule.
Like I see here in the chat people saying Washington sucks. Well, Washington does not suck.
No.
Like they're not amazing. We know like some of their high level guys are missing, and that does matter. Just like we talked about LSU, like you can't lose like those guys in the course of the game, and even in the course of pre and warm ups, and not have it affect you. But like, I mean, you told me the opposing quarterback was 18 of 22. I'm like, oh shoot. It was like, yeah, it was for 173. Cool. Run game, like nothing.
Yeah.
51 yards in TFLs.
DeMond Williams, Jonah
sacks.
Coleman. Yeah, DeMond Williams, Jonah Coleman, Denzel Boston is one of the best 3-man sort of combos that you're going to have in all of college football. And they weren't the ones that were banged up. You had an offensive lineman that was banged up, but you know, it's just they kept Washington's weapons in check. It was extremely impressive.
Their
Sam
defense
just doesn't throw very many non-competitive balls. Like
No.
like they're on target, and with those guys, that's going to kill so many teams.
and we talked that's a really tough environment to play in. He handled it.
Yeah.
Like as I talked earlier with like Oregon and like the procedure mistakes, you didn't see him with Ohio State either. He's got a ton of talent around him, but he's just impressive. He looks good, and that defense is terrific. I mean, I don't even know what else to say about it. Like, there's no weak spot on the defense. You might not know who the names are yet, but you will by November.
Bo Jackson runs really hard.
Uh-huh.
I can't believe
That
he had
guy's
eligibility
good.
left.
Was it the 4th down conversion that was the crosser to Jeremiah?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. That's how I know Ryan Day. I mean, you can tell me Brian Hartline's calling plays. That's how I know Ryan Day is back in charge. Ohio State's stuck in a jam, and we're just going to send our best wide receiver on a crosser. Let him go figure it out.
So they're set. So Washington on that play is 7 across, right? They send all 7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if you're saying you got to be like, this is a trap. Like, who is actually like somebody needs to be dropping here to at least like make me double clutch this thing, and I'll get sacked. That's kind of the goal of that. And nobody dropped. It was just like, okay, we're gonna go 4 on 5.
But
Okay.
I mean, Bud, am I wrong? Isn't that like when Ryan Day is calling the shots and they need a play? It's always it's action coming both ways with the crossing route to your best wide receiver, and then the other wide receivers turn into downfield blockers, and you let them go make a play.
He's the head coach and an excellent offensive coach, and you had to promote a guy who was an excellent recruiter of receivers to offensive coordinator to keep him. But it would be insane to think that Ryan Day would not be involved in the offensive design and game plan and maybe even some of the calling. Like, he should be. You pay the guy like $10 million a year. It's like, because he's good at coaching offense, good at managing a team. Like, if I'm an Ohio State fan and he wasn't heavily involved, I would be pretty pissed, honestly. They look good. Like, that's the best team I've seen this year.
Mm-hmm. They got to be your favorites to do it again.
Yeah, like if they lined up and played Bama tomorrow, I'm taking Ohio State.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, no questions.
Mm-hmm.
I truly think it's a Ducks and Bucks debate, and that's probably what we'll do on the Big Ten show this week.
Yeah, I agree. I think the SEC is deeper. I think the top of the Big Ten is better again.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was going to be the case this year, but so far it looks like it is.
Very, very impressed with Ohio State. Number one team in the country. I had to go on the road. They had to play a power conference opponent for the first time since week 1, and they absolutely answered the call. If we want to stay in the Big Ten, Indiana, things got awfully hairy for the Hoosiers.
How much did you get to watch?
I did not get to watch much at all.
I got 0 eyes on this.
I watched a decent bit of it.
All right.
I mean, come on, it's Indiana and Iowa. You think I'm not going to watch this game? I mean, but Iowa's defense kind of stepped up. First time I felt like Iowa's defense looked like the Hawkeyes this year. Still, in the end, they weren't good enough to get the stops that they needed because the offense just didn't do enough to help them out. I mean, stop me if you've heard this story before, ladies and gentlemen, but Fernando Mendoza made some really big throws, particularly late in the game. There was one where he had a guy he was getting blitzed, and the defender was pretty much helmet in his chin, and Mendoza just stood there and let him come so that way he could hit the guy up the seam, and he took a huge shot, and he completed the pass with an absolute laser, and it was like, all right, that's a QB1 throw. When you start seeing people talk about it, those are the kind of things that NFL teams are looking for, and it was a huge play. Elijah Surratt made some big plays. Mark Gronowski got hurt in the second half, and I think that I was stuck around and hung in. But once Gronowski went out, you just kind of felt like, okay, no, Hank Brown comes in, they've got no shot to win this. They need Indiana to screw up and throw a pick 6 or something to lose this game. So, but it goes to show Indiana's been at home all season long. They clearly put a ton into last week's game because of the Illinois is this year's Indiana talk. They took that very personally. And then there was a natural letdown in this one, but they went on the road and they won the game. And I think, they'll be happy with it.
I look forward to being able to check that out. I certainly hope that the Feathered app has a good replay options.
Our old friend Phil Simms calling the game.
Okay, there we go. I mean, it's
on Peacock.
Yeah. That's why it was hard for me.
Peacock.
It was hard for me because of my setup to be able to rotate in the option. Tom,
there hasn't been a single game where I'm like, man, I really got to have Peacock to go watch this thing live.
Wow.
Well, this was one.
Tell me you didn't watch Illinois versus Western Michigan. Or no, was it Illinois-Western? What game was it then?
Western Illinois.
No, it was. I can't remember. Was that the game that? Yeah, it was. It was the season opener against Western Illinois. It was Phil Simms calling it. I was just like, wow, Phil, we're calling Western Illinois in Illinois, huh? All right, cool.
Hey, honestly, Tom, they could have just brought back the crew from Bethpage. Just pack it up. Just
it was so sad watching the Peacock and NBC games today where they're doing the Ryder Cup promos for tomorrow. And they're like, yeah, the final day of the Ryder Cup. You got to watch it. They're getting the hell beat out of them, but who knows? Maybe.
Did you see what I said in Slack?
Mm-mm.
I said they kept promoting 6 hours of Ryder Cup coverage like it was a punishment for not cleaning your room. Tomorrow, if you don't clean your room, you've got to watch 6 hours of Ryder Cup. Oh, Colorado scored.
Okay.
Come on. All right. Come on, BYU.
Life depends on Colin Morikawa making this putt.
I look forward to be getting back and digging into the Indiana side of it all because it was an alarming score to be like, trying to track and get it on my phone and dig in on, but didn't really get a whole lot, especially with everything else going on at the time. Let's see, Illinois, ILL, Tom.
Thank you.
That was you know what? That was a great theme from some of today being a fun day. It was not a perfect football game for either team, but it was a fun one. You know, like the big swings back and forth, some big plays being made. I obviously, like, floor's yours. How do you walk out of this? First from the Illinois side, and then also USC, a little bit concerning in terms of some of the injury developments, players who did not play, but also players who got banged up within the course of the game.
Yeah, Illinois got pretty much all the best injury news it could get heading into the game, and that Xavier Scott was the only guy who had missed time last week who didn't play. Although Matthew Bailey, who started, who was banged up last week, did get banged up in the second half and left this game. But it was USC who was dealing with more injuries than Illinois, which I think was a huge shock, and it certainly went against the reasons I picked against Illinois in this game. But I was just thrilled to see it, man, because it's like, you come off a 53-point loss, man. You don't know how the team's going to respond. And then this is homecoming. It's USC. It's an undefeated USC. And the fear is that, oh, my God, we're going to lay another egg. And all your fears about what this team has always done whenever there are expectations are going to come, they're going to come and they're going to crash down and it's going to suck again. And, oh, my God, when does basketball start? It's not the case. It's a veteran team. They picked themselves up off the mat. They played well. They nearly blew a 2-score lead, or they did blow a 2-score lead late, but they picked themselves up off the mat again, and they went and they got the drive when they needed it at the end. Luke Altmaier does it again. Last couple minutes of the game, just efficiently moving the offense down the field, getting into field goal range, having a good kicker, and then making the field goal to win the game. And there's also, I see a lot of Illinois fans who are very pissed off at the defense. I will just say, I'm not going to tell you to be happy with the defense, but some context, if I may. This game was USC's lowest EPA per snap this season, their lowest explosive play rate of the season. That's overall in the air and on the ground. It was the first time all year USC didn't have a single play of 40 yards or more. It was their lowest yards per play all season. It was their highest rate of pressure allowed all season, and it was their highest turnover rate in any single game this season. Sometimes offenses are just really, really, really good, and you can get any kind of stops, and that was Illinois' defensive game plan here. They were sitting back with a lot of three safeties sitting back, keep everything in front. It wasn't until Matthew Bailey got hurt and left the game that USC was really kind of able to start getting some chunk plays going. So, yeah, just good all around, I think.
If we ever go to a premium option on this show, I really hope Tom had like a hidden camera at his desk that recorded his reactions to Illinois fumbling at the 0, having it get negated by penalty, and then the next freaking play, Illinois fumbling at the 4. And then on the second to last drive of the game,
throwing it into the end zone.
Away, then they again fumble at the 0. Like, dude, if you wore one of these like Aura rings, or like, do you wear an Apple Watch? Okay, all right. We're gonna need that. We're gonna need to see that spike at about, like, I would say 12:45 Eastern, and then also about like 3:35 Eastern, roughly. Because, dude, I know I would be like crashing out so hard. Like, I mean,
Bud, we've got him on camera for the end of the first half because he had to sit and watch while we were waiting to do the halftime show.
Like the back-to-back. I know the one was negated by penalty, but like literally back-to-back goal line fumbles. It's got to be just.
I mean, one of the most confusing things to me about replay is like the Caden Fagan fumble at the goal line that was ruled a fumble and upheld by replay. All right. To me, it looked pretty obvious that his shoulder was down before the ball comes out.
Yeah.
Then you fast forward, but they don't overturn it. Then you fast forward to tonight and they're like, oh, a blade of grass clearly touched his knee. That's not a fumble. And they overturn it. I'm like, how is there? It's the same conference. How is there that much of a difference in the amount of evidence that you needed to overturn these calls? I don't get it. And I'm just happy that they won because, oh my God, if they had lost, I would be very angry about that.
Yeah. At least you had some sketchy officiating in the game y'all won. We let Tony Elliott reset the play clock because he didn't realize the overtime rules. last night.
He set out the extra point too.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, well, you didn't know. Like, we're gonna just reset this to 25.
Everybody gets a redo, just one redo per game.
Yeah, Tom, I know that we've I don't know if we brought this saying to the Cover 3 podcast before, but Chris Felica, the Bear, has great nuggets. And so like when he's got a good nugget that you want to repeat, we always say, yeah, I'm going to like take a little dip of the Bear's honey. Okay, so here's a little dip of the Bear's honey. Lincoln Riley is now 0-12 against the spread outside of the state of California as USC's head coach. I got yelled at for talking about time zones. Buddy, that ain't even time zones. Those are state lines.
Man, to your point though, like they did have a lot of really important guys either not play or go down in this
your
game.
Like center, like Elijah Page is your best tackle.
Page. Yeah. Your center gets hurt, and by the way, their center goes out, and on the very next play, they score a 75-yard touchdown that is negated by the backup center who just came into the game being 2 yards further downfield than he's supposed to be.
Kamari Ramsey, like probably their second best defensive player, maybe it's but one of their like really good defensive players doesn't play at all. DeCarlos Nicholson, he goes down. You have to put like a backup corner in. Who I was like, having seen this kid in high school, I was like, how the hell did he end up at USC? So like that was concerning. And Illinois also shared that opinion because they went right at the dude. Like repeat, it's like, oh, he's in. Yeah, okay, he's in. We're in to throw at him, like repeatedly.
Jacoby Lane did not play.
Yeah, he did.
No, he did.
Passes for 39 yards.
All right, okay.
He just didn't. He did not start, and then he came in the second half. He started getting some snaps.
It was weird. Did they ever say what the injury to him was?
No, I don't have anything. I mean,
I think it was Chris Trevino of our USC site. He noted that Lane was catching the ball in warmups, but he was like Lemon would catch it and throw it back. Lane would catch it and then hand it to a trainer to throw it back.
So it's like a shoulder injury.
That's my guess.
Yeah.
Makai Lemon was awesome and continues to be awesome.
So good.
I thought Jaden Maeva played great in this game.
Jaden Maeva made a bunch of great plays off script.
Mm-hmm.
On script, he is going to get his receivers killed because a lot of his throws over the middle have his dudes just reaching, and they took some big hits from Illinois in this one. And it's like I feel like they're going to have a talk with their QB. But no, Makai Lemon, you kind of like what happened you just talked about with USC. Like once Bailey went out and Tanner Heckle had to come in, like USC every single snap was like they were formation effing Illinois to forcing them to put Tanner Heckle on Makai Lemon, and then he finished with 11 catches for 151 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Looks like BYU third quarter ends up taking an L as the Cougars gave up a late third quarter touchdown.
And LJ Martin got hurt.
Those halftime adjustments were looking good, Tom. You know, they came out and they scored a touchdown on their first drive out of halftime.
You do you. You keep taking those pre-flop third quarter bets if they make you happy.
I mean, I'm glad I wasn't. I'm glad I was on Indiana first quarter and not fourth quarter, as they take a safety at the a cover busting safety at the end of the game.
And Fernando Mendoza apologized for it too. Well, he didn't really apologize. He said, "Hey, I know that I probably killed a bunch of people's bets with that, but you know, I just got to do what I can to win the game."
That's fine. You do you, Fernando. We just knew Indiana wanted to be ahead for the first quarter break. Okay, so again, there's a lot to sort of parse through. We're already like 75 minutes into this one.
Did Jeremiah Love kill Sam Pittman?
I just don't think they're going to fire Sam Pittman. I think they're going to let this guy retire and take a position within the AD.
They should probably do it tomorrow then.
Like announce, like, hey guys, this is the last season. Coach will coach the rest of the year type thing. Like,
did you see how empty that stadium was at halftime?
It's opening day of archery season, man.
No, but I'm saying you had Notre Dame coming to town. All right, so this is like a huge game. It's a big deal. It's a great non-conference opponent. It's a blue blood program. They played for the title game, and that stadium was empty at halftime.
Yeah, but that's the problem. The the season ticket holders who are fond of being able to stretch that bow, they might not have been there so that they could get out there and hunt. But I think the money people were in the house for that game. I think the money people saw. I think the Fire Pittman chants were loud. I think the booing was really loud. We had Brandon Marcello join, like it was like a panic call. Brandon Marcello joined CBS Sports HQ from the press box and was like, "Yeah, guys, this is bad." I'm talking to sources who say they're ready to move.
I think it's been known that this is last year since before the season.
But it's the same thing as the
like
firings.
internally, I think like guys on that staff have known that.
But I think that the decision to move on has now hit the same place that some of the early season firings that we talked about, specifically the ones that come to mind are Virginia Tech and Oklahoma State, that the product is so bad on the field that allowing it to continue without accountability means that you're going to end up disrespecting the fan base. And the fan base already feels disrespected because of the athletic director's comments about the ceiling and like what they can accomplish. And you know what your job is as an athletic director? It might not be to tell the truth to your fans. It's definitely not to tell the truth to your boosters. And so I kind of feel like this performance on this stage, I mean, but it was Lou Holtz Day. It trotted Lou out there. It was the Lou Holtz Bowl. And you did that for Lou? Oh my gosh. And Ohio State played so well. What a bad day for Lou.
If the money people were in the building for Arkansas, like they should have been in the building when they were trying to build a defense through the portal this offseason. Like that, they have like zero talent on defense.
Notre Dame hit its team total over before halftime.
Well before halftime.
Yeah.
And then they added one on for a good measure.
That was not competitive in any way. Oh, touchdown BYU. Look, the AD is probably not real smart to say what he said, but also like Arkansas is trying to win at 3 sports. They're also like pretty good in track, right? Like
that's an absurd comment to say.
They are like, I mean,
this is football in the SEC. You're not going to say we can't win in football because we want to win in track.
No, but you can say, hey guys, like we've never, ever competed in the SEC in football. And we have a chance to do something in basketball, which is why we went and hired Calipari. And we actually have something really good running the baseball here. So, we'll keep cashing these football checks and spending it, not on football, but on baseball and basketball.
But there's a difference between saying we're not going to win the SEC and, hey, we're just going to lose by 40 every week.
That's fair. But like it's Notre Dame and Arkansas.
Yeah, but it's not like the schedule gets easier. There's more Notre Dames coming up.
Yeah, that's somebody has to take the losses. You guys let Oklahoma and Texas into this conference.
And Sam Pittman has taken far too many of them at this point.
I'm not.
You're going to completely alienate your fan base. Like there's going to be no reason for them to care.
So who is the interim head coach? Is it the guy that you probably really don't want to make the head coach? Or is it the guy in Travis whose defense just gave up a 60 burger or whatever they give up, right?
I make Petrino my interim head coach because I'm still going to get my skull caved in for the rest of the year. So at least that way, if we lose 7 games with Bobby Petrino, none of my fans are going to be dumb enough to say we need to keep Petrino.
Yeah, that's really smart.
Hire me to be your AD, Arkansas. I'll fire Sam tomorrow.
By the way, also, I think buckle up. I think Notre Dame's going to do this to a lot of teams left on their schedule.
They have.
The problem is Tom Zalani just killed Notre Dame's resume today.
Sorry.
I just
like USC's not going to finish ranked at this point. Nobody else on the schedule will either. Notre Dame died today as far as playoffs.
Put that on the record. Illinois killed Notre Dame.
10-2 with no good wins. USC is going to be unranked.
You're trying to project out the end of the season. I'm just telling you how individually these results
lost to Vatech.
Bud, I'm just telling you.
Cal.
I'm just telling you what's going to happen on the football field. You're talking about
31 at home to Duke.
Bud, you're talking about what's going to happen in a conference room in Grapevine, Texas. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen on the football field in the sport of college football.
I'm saying they really desperately needed USC to have a number by their name when they played them, and that's not going to happen, I'm pretty sure now.
Notre Dame is going to catch some bodies. We are doing toe tags. We are zipping up body bags. They are putting 40 or 50 on every team that is left on this schedule right now. Like, this is going to be an absolutely brutal showing because they have to. And they know that they have to. It's what they did last year. They finished the season even after the playoff with a margin of victory of 20 points per game. They were throwing up like 49-14, 52-13. I mean, they're going to do it again. And we're going to potentially, they might lose and then they're done. But their method, they are no games off the rest of the way for Notre Dame. I think we're going to see more scores like this. And they are going to,
to the people in the chat saying that this is basically Indiana's resume if they go 10-2 last year, strongly disagree. Like the bottom of the ACC is to me a lot worse than the bottom of the Big Ten. Yeah, I don't think those are close.
I just need a clean clip, Mikey, of Bud saying that Illinois killed Notre Dame, so I can send that to a certain group text I have of friends who might be Notre Dame fans,
and say you're welcome.
Like, hey, did you guys hear the news? Bam, Bud. Illinois killed Notre Dame.
All right, real quick, if there's like one or two more games before we do tomorrow's top 25 today, and then obviously a beefy upon further review, but we're an hour and 25 minutes into this already.
Shouts to Cincinnati for finally winning a one-score ball game. Like, they're a team that I feel like has been a lot better than their record over the last 2 years. And they finally came out on the right side of one.
Virginia Tech head coach Scott Satterfield.
Ooh, I could see it. I think their fans would riot just based on what I just said about the last 2 years in close games after what Pride did in close games. But
I'm not a Virginia Tech fan, but I feel like my reaction to that probably I don't think I'd be down with that as a Hokie.
Tom, where would you like to turn? That was a fun game. I didn't really. You've been there before. Like, even though you've got the option to watch 8 games at once, you can't watch 8 games at once. You've got to kind of pick and choose what you're going to really dial in on. And so all I saw were like explosive plays and dumb plays and stuff swinging back and forth between Cincinnati and Kansas. Looked like a super fun one, just not one that I was 100% locked into.
Yeah, I thought it was like really well played by both quarterbacks. It was a total shootout. It was a shootout, a slow pace shootout, but it was from an efficiency standpoint, a complete shootout. That was a good one. Jackson Arnold probably should have thrown 4 or 5 interceptions in the first half alone and somehow did not. And this game was not close at all in terms of how it was actually played, but the scoreboard was.
Very painful not to get the cover there.
Holy cow.
The lock fight.
Yeah.
I will say, Auburn, your defense is very good.
Is Auburn going to open?
Yes.
I think so too now. I think Freeze is going to get fired.
That is not informed speculation or reporting, but I'm just seeing.
It's like Chip can count.
He's made bad quarterback decisions with Peyton Thorne, and then now Jackson Arnold just not working out. It's hard to win in the SEC with just an average QB.
I did not
very
think
good everywhere else.
I did not think Texas A&M played great.
I thought their defense played well. I think the offense, I think Auburn's defense is just really good. I don't think it's a coincidence that every time Auburn plays a team, their offense struggles.
I thought that's fair. Okay, because I was going to say it felt like Texas A&M just could not pull away, but seemed to be, seemed to have the advantage, seemed to have the leverage in the competition for most of the game, but just could not put them away. And I guess I should give more credit to Auburn's defense for their part in that. Obviously, shout out to Le'Veon Moss, career high in rushing. He was just kind of the workhorse for them. They got enough plays that they needed to late, but Yeah, man. It's Auburn's roster is too talented for their inability to win some of these games.
At one point in this game, and don't clip this because it's not exact, but I pulled it up on my phone. I was like, "Whoa!" Oh, Marcel Reed's like 2 of 7 for like 105. Like, yep, that makes sense. That's on brand here. Excellent. He finished 15 of 22 for 207. It's fine.
Mississippi State and Tennessee.
That was a fun football game.
Very sloppy, but also fun.
Mm-hmm.
As
So
we mentioned
bad.
earlier, another flag fest. I don't have the stat
Mhm.
pulled up, but approximately like 30 penalties in that game.
Yeah. Joey
I mean,
Aguilar-
seriously, at one point it was 25. I really think it might have gotten to 30 by the end of it.
Joey Aguilar was throwing more moon balls out there. There was one play. It resulted in the scoop and score for Tennessee where Blake Shapen got absolutely destroyed. I thought he died.
I was going to say which one because there was a bunch.
The one where he fumbled and Tennessee picked it up and scored.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it was Tyree Smith. What's the kid's name? I can't remember. Anyways, he came from the blind side. Shapen had no idea he was there and just absolutely obliterated him. It was incredible. But yeah, like that stings if you're State because I feel like they had that game if they just didn't kind of screw up at the end.
Well, so I didn't see. I was moving locations when Tennessee got the game tying touchdown. Was that good Tennessee or was that Mississippi State giving it up?
No, that was good Tennessee. Also, like their right tackle got rolled up on, had to come out of the game. David Sanders, the true freshman, had to come into the game. Sanders thought was okay. He did commit like a pretty inopportune false start, like down in state territory. But like, I thought it was more good Tennessee. Like I thought Mississippi State played hard. They're an upgraded team, and like they played well.
Yeah, it's what stunk was that like State was scoring in the second half, but they didn't have to go very far to do so. And then like Tennessee gets back in the game. They tie it just after the 2-minute warning. Like there's a minute 55 left, and State just comes out and goes 3 and out, gains 2 yards. And it's like you felt once they had to do that, you kind of felt like they weren't going to win the game, and they didn't.
Yep.
Although Fluff Bothwell, my boy, South Alabama Jaguar that North Carolina should have gotten instead of Gio Lopez, 23 attempts, 134 yards, 2 touchdowns. Wasn't Fluff's fault. Don't blame Fluff.
I mean, that is the true flattening of the Southeastern Conference. Is even the bottom is getting better.
Yeah, it'd be hard for Mississippi State to be worse than they were last year, though.
I would agree with that.
Did Caden Salter take like a 20-yard sack on third down?
That's
Probably.
what the tailgate is saying. That's
What my boy will do.
How did just throw it away?
Nah.
22.
They showed me that Shador tape. I don't throw nothing away. I just keep running backwards.
I'm trying to think. I don't want to have any more tabs open because I'm trying to give. How's the internet been, by the way, since I froze out the jump?
Beautiful. Incredible.
Okay, good.
You look amazing.
I'm trying to reach out. What else stood out? Big takeaways.
Iowa State really put to rest any idea that Arizona's good.
That was a tough watch.
That was pretty. I mean,
Oh, so you mean it was an Iowa State football game?
No, it wasn't an Iowa State football game because it wasn't close. Like
No,
Iowa
but
State
no,
just absolutely blew the doors off them.
I think tough watch is kind of an Iowa State football game.
I meant tough to watch Arizona play tonight. It was rough.
Yeah. I did not watch a second of Northwestern UCLA.
Neither did I. I'm not a
Who won?
I enjoy life.
Northwestern.
Won.
Okay.
Devin Dampier heard us talking shit.
It was West Virginia though. So I mean,
you saw Nico didn't play for the Mountaineers, right?
Yes. Yeah.
NC State lost to Virginia Tech.
Hmm.
The ACC sucks. Let's be real. There's like 3 or 4 decent. There's one real good team. There's a couple decent teams, and then the rest of it's pretty ass.
I was worried it was going to get toxic. I told you that, right?
Yeah.
That's a conversation for a. We'll do a little locals hour, maybe on
Louisville was
Monday.
going to lose for a while there too.
Yeah, I actually came. I don't think Louisville's great, but I came out of that with a little bit more. It would have been easy for them to fold because everything was going Pitt's way early. So it's a good win for that football team that they respond. But you know what happened? Oh man, I just thought of this. Remember how we said that the AAC caught a little CUSA? ACC, they invited in SMU. Well, it's the action. That's what it is. Some wild football going on in that conference right now. Okay. Coming up on the other side, running through our expectations for the new AP Top 25 and more. Next.
Only CBS Sports can bring you big time during the heart of Saturday afternoons. It's big time.
It's big time. It's big time. It's big time.
On CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus.
Podcast. Now, you've already voiced your opinion that Ohio State's the number one team, the best team in the country. Do you think that they will remain number one in the new AP Top 25 poll after Oregon's big win at Penn State?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you 55 first place votes out of about 62 or 63 last week? What do you think the split looks like this week?
Well, let's see. Miami got 7, Penn State got 5. So I would say that.
And Oregon got 1.
Yeah. So Oregon might get all 5 of those Penn State votes. Considering those people thought Penn State was the best team in the country.
I think the Buckeyes lose some. I think they could lose. Yeah. I think it is
Ohio
very.
State do to lose any votes.
Oregon's going to go to 2 over Miami, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
I would agree with that.
I think that Oregon goes to 2, and I think that at least a non-zero amount of voters will just simply say, I think beating Penn State in Happy Valley is better than beating Texas at home. They're both undefeated, and now Oregon has a better win. You'd been playing a bunch of teams that I don't have on my ballot, and you just beat a team that I've got up inside, the top 10 on my ballot.
Okay.
Maybe top 5.
They've got comparable number 1 wins. Now let's compare their second best wins. Ohio State just went on the road and beat Washington. Oregon's second best win is what? Northwestern, Oklahoma State, Oregon State.
That's fair. I mean, I'm making a prediction.
You're wrong, Chip. No, you might be right. I'm just practicing who I'm going to be mad at on Monday.
Okay. Ole Miss is going to be a big mover because of some of the shakeup. Alabama's got a loss. Georgia's got a loss. You're looking around. You're like, okay, so who's going to benefit from this?
So
I think Ole Miss. Yeah, I think Ole Miss gets up into the top 5
over Oklahoma.
That's where you're looking at right now.
Over A&M.
I think they are over A&M.
I don't know.
I mean, if LSU was still at 4, I mean, we could say we sold all of our LSU stock, but this is still the voters that had LSU at 4.
True.
And
do we think LSU stays ranked?
Yeah.
Yes, of course we will. You're not going to fall from 4 to unranked for losing to Ole Miss.
Yeah, 4 to unranked is a pretty crazy drop.
Illinois lost by 53 and stayed ranked.
Yeah. And also the teams that you're grabbing to put in the ballot, you'd have to really be sitting there and like, yeah. I mean, I think Memphis is going to get ranked this week.
Is Louisville?
Ooh, I don't think so.
If
Memphis,
BYU loses to Colorado,
that's a good. If BYU loses, that'd be a good one to grab because South Carolina's kind of in line too. So I know. I think Utah breaks back in. Utah was just on the outside looking in, and they only got bounced for the Texas Tech loss, but Texas Tech's going to be a team that's moving up in a pretty significant way. I do think USC falls out, and I think TCU falls out. Florida State drops down to. Florida State's a tough one because you beat Alabama, but Alabama just beat Georgia. So I think Florida State's
you beat Alabama
behind.
by 14.
I think Florida State ends up behind Alabama. I don't necessarily agree with it. I think they'll be within 2 to 3 spots of each other, but it's going to be really messy between like 11 and 18. There's going to be, it's the beginning of trying to get some conflicts evened out with some, like, what do you do with, Georgia's got to be ahead of Tennessee, right?
I think Alabama has to be ahead of Florida State because Alabama lost to Florida State. Florida State lost to Virginia. All right.
Yeah. My prediction is that Alabama is ahead of Florida State. Welcome to Top 10 Texas Tech. You didn't play, but because of all the shakeup, now Texas Tech's up in the top 10. Tennessee's win was very big because it keeps them. Georgia Tech also. It wasn't pretty, but you were able to hold on and win. Ole Miss, Oregon are kind of your big movers of note. Alabama jumping back in it. Then some of the rest is a little bit more of rearranging the deck chairs. Are there any teams or questions on y'all's end in terms of trying to figure out how this thing's going to shake out?
Really need to cut this poll to 16 teams.
16 might be a good number.
Just saying, like, look at the teams we're talking about right now. Like, sneaking in, like Louisville, are they going to be ranked? It's like, they might be, but they shouldn't. I mean,
at least Notre Dame's got more of a reason to be ranked now.
True. They beat an SEC team, so probably got to put them back in the top 10.
No, I think I've got them hanging tight at 22. No movement.
I don't know.
A lot of movement around them, but no movement.
You put up 56 points on the SEC in an SEC stadium.
That's fair. SEC.
I don't have Arizona.
It's SEC.
They are.
They are. But
you
apparently
don't want them to be Chip just because you're some SWC loyalist.
No, I mean, I'm surprised that they're even allowed to be in because apparently they don't care about football. I tell you one I legitimately wrestled with near the edge is they can't keep getting away with it anymore.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't put Arizona State in when they've got the loss to Mississippi State, and then Mississippi State lost to Tennessee. It's just kind of a little bit of a logjam there. I just couldn't see that happening. But that's what we're talking about in terms of teams that are knocking on the door that you'd be making arguments for in terms of breaking into the top 25. Again, if you want to check out the full AP top 25 projection, it's available on CBSSports.com. And when this BYU game goes final, we'll see whether the Cougars end up hanging on or whether the Louisville Cardinals potentially end up breaking in. Well, our thanks to everybody who hung out. Make sure you smash that like and smash that subscribe. We do really appreciate it. These are very fun hangouts, and we are glad that all of you hang out to join us to recap the college football Saturday. We got a lot of great promotional graphics. This was talk about like one of the best sports days ever that they threw up on screen. And it was like, we got the Ryder Cup. We've got this football game. And at 11:30, we've got the Cover 3 instant reaction show. And so, yeah, that was cool. We appreciate it. Everybody who hung out. We'll be back on Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern time for Upon Further Review. Yes.
Do we need to make a ruling? Like, is Arkansas emergency worthy? Because you're traveling, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I can wait till Monday.
Yeah, I think that may, like I say that's a Monday.
I mean, we're all going to be watching the Ryder Cup,
as punishment.
Yeah, as punishment.
Mikey's not around tomorrow. I'm not around tomorrow. Chip's traveling tomorrow. Arkansas, if you fire Sam,
I don't want to talk to Danny.
We'll pick on Monday. Yeah.
We'll see. Hey, listen. Well, we don't want to get scooped.
True.
If we can sit down and do it, we'll
right. You
we'll
want
see what
you
we
want
can
to just
do.
record it right now, live? Wow, I can't believe they did it.
Wow.
Who do you think they're going to hire to replace it? What are
You know,
your
Tom, I think
candidates?
they really need to wait to see if Auburn opens up or if Florida opens up or both. Obviously, if for some reason Auburn and Florida both don't fire their coach, and if LSU for some reason doesn't fire theirs, then maybe they can look into John Summerall. Wow, that would be a total coup. Do you think Bobby Petrino would be an interesting candidate here? They say you can never go home, but
Bud, you're doing it all wrong. John Gruden wants an SEC job.
Mhm.
John Gruden, Arkansas. John Gruden, what's ever gone wrong hiring a former NFL coach with very limited college experience? It's never
If you're,
gone wrong ever.
If
Hey.
you're John Gruden, do you jump at the Arkansas job now, or do you wait to see if Auburn and Florida come open and if they're interested?
that's USC center and a full leg cast on crutches. Yeah.
Not good. Not good. All right. Well, Arkansas, I mean, just hang on to him. You know, let's let Sam just
Let Sam enjoy the Ryder Cup and then fire him later.
At least let the man enjoy bow season without firing him.
Yeah,
Like,
come
for
on. Let's
one
at
day.
least get to was it
Jeez.
long gun season's coming up a little later. That's in like late October, November, right?
And then modern gun season is remember like the long gun
3D
season
printed.
is your musket style. Yeah. We actually should get like somebody to sponsor us like on a musket trip. Like do the show from a blind. There's got to be somebody like who's got some kind of seeded field out there who would let us do a show
From a
opening day of
blind.
musket season. Yes.
I mean, like,
I'm down.
yeah, I'm down.
With Sam Pittman next year because he probably won't be doing anything. So like just
Hey, well then Sam can buy the whole farm.
that's right.
If I got $9 million coming my way, you know how much the farmland they can buy in Arkansas? You kidding me? Look, buy it
But,
and
like-
staff it.
Mikey's gonna grab one of those muskets on us if we don't end this show. This is for like 2 hours.
And you can follow him on Twitter at Tom Fornelli. You can follow him at Bud Elliott 3. You can follow me at Chip _Patterson. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you.